Turn up, boy. Turn up, boy.
I love working with a team towards a common goal.
For the camaraderie.
Camaraderie and playing with my teammates.
I play for my team.
Teamwork and the connections that I can build on and off field.
For For the community and the exercise.
Because of the community and the competition.
I like playing Ultimate Frisbee for the competition.
I play for the competition and the fun.
For fun.
Because fun.
I love getting to work hard.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Leave everything out here.
Every time I step on the field, I want to be a better player.
You know, give something people to talk about.
Be happy but never satisfied. To step away from real life and focus on Frisbee.
I play because I love Ultimate.
Find your drive.
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 Good afternoon. Welcome back to the UCSHI, the Ultimate Canada High School Invitational Tournament here in Ajax, Ontario at the Ajax Community Centre. My name is Sanjay Parker. I'm going to be one of your commentators today alongside the ever golden Samantha Mock.
Hello.
You guys are good there as long
I
as
hope
you're not
everyone's
like
doing
in the shot
well.
under here, you're totally fine.
The weather here has been pretty nice. It's a little windy, but maybe starting to die down a little, hopefully. I see some blue skies over there, so maybe they'll make it their way over
A blue
here.
sky would be nice. It would match your glasses. For everyone back at home, Sam is wearing these beautiful blue glasses. You can get yours own somewhere.
Costco.
Costco.
I'd like to thank our sponsors of today, making this tournament possible, BE Ultimate as well as Discraft. And we are looking at the semi-final here between BHS and ECI.
We also acknowledge that the land we are on is gathered and situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas. More specifically, the Mississaugas of the Scugog Island First Nation, signatories of the Gunshot Treaty of 1788 and the William Treaties of 1923. It looks like the game is about to start. That's the start of the game. That we have Bowmanville on the left of your screen in the dark, pulling to ECI on the right. These two teams met a week ago where ECI won a tight match 3-0. Sam, what's your expectation for the game today?
I think it's going to be a tight game. Both of these teams are really strong. I just commentated for the ECI quarterfinal. They played really well, using all their players. So we'll see how they do against Bowmanville.
They're powering up this line right now. That was Brennan Vecchio with a nice grab just before the end zone before he dished it off. That's 1-0 for ECI. Great start.
A great hold there. Just really fast-paced offense. Throwing to the first open player, really. Not keeping the disc static.
And yet, despite that, Bowmanville does not look dissuaded at all. That was just the first point. Now Bowmanville has a chance to show what they have on offense.
Mm-hmm.
I see 42 Elliot Bluin joining the line there. He's being one of the all-stars for Bowmanville this weekend. Let's see what he and the rest of this Bowmanville O-line can bring to this point. Sam, we see one of the male matching players for ECI pulling for them. Is it always get to be him? Is he going to pull the whole game, or do they have to rotate through the players?
Yeah, so for this division where it's mixed gender, it alternates between a male or female puller depending on whatever gender is in the majority. So here we have 4 male matching players in the field, so it's going to be a male puller.
Oh, I understand. Thanks so much. Oh, low pull. I was trying to get under that wind. Got about 2/3 through the field.
They're setting
There we
up.
have Elliot picking up. Middle of the field. They ECI have dropped a zone on them, probably because it's so windy. All females in that cup.
A lot of teams play that way, I've noticed, with the 3 female cup and then male matching players downfield.
I suppose for something like that, you'd have to have females with great stamina. But they're getting through the zone pretty well here, this Bowmanville offense, really flowing well. Middle of the field now. And we have a hand block by number 9, Medina Etobicoke, for ECI, but it looks like we're getting a foul called on there. The observers coming in to give their perspective. Sam, what did you see?
To me, it looked like the way the disc came out, contact might have been before the throw. Sometimes you can just tell when a disc just doesn't fly right. But we'll see what the observer says.
That observer is grizzled, and he's a veteran, and we know he's going to make the right call. Look at him just directing the play.
And it looks like the foul is accepted. Stall should come in at 0. Oh, and it's coming in at 6.
All right.
Maybe it was contested then.
Sarah, underneath on him. Hold him there, no break.
All right, the disc is on that break side now, and they swing backwards just to get the disc all the way around the field.
That's it, Sarah. Yes, guys, yes, good, good.
It's a mainly handler core here for Bowmanville. They're swinging the disc really well, and that means there's a lot of women downfield open for that disc. That's Grady Averill, number 24, with the disc right now. Back to Elliott. It's a bit of an unusual zone, Sam. Usually we see a mark and then 2 people to the marks left or right, but it looks like this zone is more about trying to stop those arounds.
And they're setting up a trap every time they get to the sidelines, but Bowmanville able to just break through that cup.
Brennan, just stay on him. Stay on him, Brennan. Underneath, Brennan. There you go. Stay on him. Yeah. Brennan. You're doing fine, White.
This defensive zone from ECI is doing a really good job of preventing Bowmanville from really moving down the field. They're kind of stuck just at the beginning of that final third.
Agreed. I feel like that's the goal of most defensive sets, especially in zone, is just force offense to make a lot of passes, which they've been doing, but Bowmanville is looking really strong on offense here.
They're doing a great job of keeping the disc, not risking the throws. Sometimes, though, eventually, if you throw 50 throws, you're going to have 1 throwaway. What a brilliant hammer.
Wow. A big hammer. That was a hold for Bowmanville, but definitely ECI making them earn that.
Yeah, they didn't lose the disc once in that whole possession. How many throws do you think that was? 50 or so?
Probably.
No, that was a full crossfield hammer, and that was going with the wind. For the people at home, the wind is coming towards the cameras here. How hard is that with the wind, Sam?
It's easy to get off, I would say, but for the receiver, that disc is going to be coming in pretty hot, so kudos to the FMP for catching it.
FMP, for people at home, is?
Female matching player.
Thank you so much, Sam. Yes, she did a great job. We unfortunately didn't see her number, but we will try and find out who that was momentarily. All right, 1-1 off the top. Both teams have had a perfect hold, which means that neither team have turned over once they've started with possession at the beginning of the point. Let's see what Bowmanville throw at ECI next from a defensive point of view. Given how the first point went, Sam, would you do the same thing, or would you try and throw a little bit of a curveball?
I think in this wind it is helpful to put on a zone set, really make them increase their chances of just execution errors, dropping it, the wind, maybe popping it up, is usually the best strategy, but...
All right, that's Marcus Colebrook with the disc in 95. Passing over to 6, that's Maggie Kuzanov.
It looks like it's a person defense and a deep shot.
Big shot there from ECI, just on the edge of the end zone here. It's a tough position. You don't want to throw it away here. Nice dish. Marcus Colbrick with the disc. Dishes it back to Brennan Vecchio. Has his mark on his knees. Brennan tries to find that lane just down the side and unfortunately isn't able to execute. Is that a thrower error or receiver error, Sam?
I want to say receiver error, but it looks like just the way that throw came out, it was maybe a little uncatchable.
Coach says thrower error.
That's it, Sarah. Stay there. Behind you, Brennan.
I hate to blame people in this game. You know, it's difficult.
It's easy to forget that these are just high school students, 14 to 17 in age.
Back up, Tommy. Yep, now in.
First chance for us to see what a defensive line can do with the disc in hand.
Come on, Kaya. Up.
Big huck by Bowmanville. And a block there by Marcus Colbeck right at the back.
And it looks like they're definitely sticking to a match defense, which allows ECI to look for deep strikes.
Be behind. Hey, give him under. Izzy, force her under. Now under, Sam. Yeah, Drew.
And a turn. Bowmanville on their end zone line here.
Yeah, they're too close.
And it looks like ECI is maintaining their zone defense.
Here we go. Front cone.
With Bowmanville really spreading out their offense in the end zone. Usually you see a stack in the middle with one person maybe ISO cutting at the top, but with this zone defense, it really forces them to maybe spread out and swing their disc a little bit more and just hope for a hole to open up. Just like that.
Found a crack in the armor, as you said, tricky. Well played zone right on that edge there by ECI, but they were able to find a crack. Good patience by Bowmanville. So that is our first break point, and an ultimate break point is really what defines the game, as it's when the defensive actually is able to score against the run of play.
And D breaks are really how you win a game. So it's good news for Bowmanville, but early on in the game still.
As Sam said at the start of the game, ECI won their previous game 13-1. So going down in a game is not something they've experienced yet today. Let's see how they come back from this slight turmoil they're facing. We mentioned the ECI's coach earlier. We wanted to give a shout out to a special player on ECI, Hayden Jackson. Hayden Jackson's one of their standout handlers. He's also the coach's son. Can you imagine what that would be like, being not only coached by your dad, but also being dadded by your dad?
Indeed. I believe the second coach of ECI is also his mom. So
get out.
It's a whole family ordeal going on in that sideline.
Speaking of family ordeal, on the opposite side, Bowmanville, they do have a pair of siblings on the team, Mara and Grady Averill. That's number 2 and number 24. We'll try and point them out as they get on screen. ECI have the disc on the break side of the field, or the open side of the field, trying to shove it down that lane of the sideline. Nice cut there to get an open lane, and he milks it just to get an easy catch there.
Really jamming it up that sideline.
The Bowmanville defensive line calls to their bench to amp it up. We've heard all tournament that Bowmanville have some terrific spirit, as shown by their evidently dyed red hair.
I think this team is maybe the first team to have really consistent team cheers going on after points and really encouraging each other, which you see a lot more in club teams. It's very common, but at the high school level, they're still new to the sport. So
How much of a difference does that make, Sam?
I think it definitely is helpful, especially if your team's down. It's a great way to keep yourself on your toes and not dwell on the past too much.
UCI, on the other hand, have enough coaches that they don't need chants. They'll just have the coaches yell at them the whole game. All right, we have a female pull this time, coming from ECI. Brilliant pull. Best pull of the game so far.
Watch the back end.
It's Troy Jameson with the disc right now for Bowmanville.
Watch the back end.
Nice dish up and swing all the way across the field.
That's it, Medina. Brennan behind you, Brennan. There's someone over right beside me, Brennan.
For ECI, that's Medina Etobicoke. On the mark, just getting that hand block. She's the #1 person in their zone at all times. How much energy does it take to do that, Sam?
It's
ridiculous.
definitely a lot of work and a lot of anticipation there, knowing that since they're on the sideline, they're going to be hoping to swing it middle, and ECI able to just counterattack there for a break.
Great goal there for ECI. Really easy. You know, once you get a conversion so close to the end zone, it makes it so much easier for the offense to put it in.
And I know last game, watching ECI, that seems to be one of their like strong suits, is that they really are great at turning D points into O points and converting really quickly, and just attacking that end zone off turns.
But all of that came from that defensive play, that defensive hand block by Medina Etobicoke.
Great work.
We've talked about this before, Sam, but at this level, the difference in teams typically comes down to the female players. And it's up to the teams on how they best utilize them, whether they're a core handler. In this case, ECI has their females running point on defense, and it's proving to work with them so far. Big pull there from Brendan Vecchio. Caught by Bowmanville, and they already have 4 passes before ECI is able to get down.
Go back in the middle, up there. Let's back in. Make them throw quick.
What I like about the way Bowmanville play this offense against the zone is that they aren't afraid to be patient, and then when they get a chance, they will do a give and go to move through that midfield. Just a bit too high, but nice save there by
Tipping it to his teammate.
Troy Jameson.
Let's back ends, guys. Get on the back ends. Come on, Ethan. Come on, Ethan.
Sam, we spoke to Coach Vlad of ECI before the game, and he said that they were going to look to push in the midfield of their zone a little bit tighter and force Bowmanville to try and throw over them.
Oh, just threading it through that mid space.
Tommy, watch him. Behind you.
And again, that ECI zone does not melt or fold or morph into a 1v1 cover. They're keeping with the zone despite their proximity to the end zone. It's Elliott with the disc for Bowmanville. And that's a goal for Bowmanville. Brilliant possession.
And I like all the players kind of touching the disc that point. Maybe only a few in the deep space, not getting a chance to get involved with the handler offense that was happening, but a nice patient end zone.
There's a stark contrast, Sam, between the Bowmanville squad rushing on field no matter the score and the ECI squad being a little bit more silent on the sideline.
It's something that has to be practiced a lot. You know, you can't just come to one tournament and think that your team is gonna have that mental game down without practicing it in previous tournaments their whole season, honestly.
Mentality is a tough thing to practice, let alone for teenagers. Is there something that you would recommend any teenager does who's watching this who wants to become a more athlete?
I mean, I think it's really obviously it's an individual thing, but I would say it's a whole team effort, honestly. I think setting expectations as a coach for your team is really important and can make a huge difference, honestly.
It was a great pull by Bowmanville. ECI is just in front of their end zone. A little trapped right now. Bowmanville's just doing a 1v1 matchup. A little flare on that catch there.
Go inside.
Oh, big throw. And the offense was not ready for it.
Stop it there. Wherever it went out, Sarah. Brandon, move it. Good.
That seemed like maybe a high stall huck.
We have the younger of the Averill siblings. That was Mara Averill, who just picked up the disc at number 2. Back to Mara.
That's it, Sarah.
Over to Nolan. Nice bobble by Mara. Bobbles may look hard, but it's really all a matter of focus, not trying to say they're easy. Oh, and that's 24, Grady Averill, the older Averill sibling. Nice to see them combine at the back as handlers. It's Robinson stuck on the sideline there, touching it back to Elliott. Still on the sideline, throwing back to Mara. Can she swing it off the line? No. Medina's doing too good of a job of forcing them to the sideline, and then that's a great block there by Brendan Vecchio, who hucks deep. And they just aren't able to bring it down. Great defensive play there by Bowmanville.
Maybe some contact there leading to the fall, but no foul or anything called. It looks like they're all good.
You're good. Hey, you got 3 behind you.
Looking at this ECI zone, you can see that they're very close to the mark, and there's a lot of space just behind the midfield for potentially a throw over the top. It's Grady Averill over to Mara Averill. Yeah.
Tall team. I'm looking at Bowmanville, and they got some height on all ends here.
Go in there. Stay there. I know, but bring him in and then switch him out. Brandon. Hey, Marcus, back up. Marcus!
It looks like they're performing a taxi on one of the players. We'll point it out next time. We have a turnover now. ECI have the disc. This is the longest point so far this game. 2 turnovers apiece, I think, for each team. Marcus Colebrook on the open side of the field.
Oh, some great handler defense there. Almost got punished, but number 24 for Bowmanville is really putting in the work here.
Hey, set it up.
It's Ethan Pananen. Over to Colebrook. Nice guy there by Colebrook to keep the disc in play.
Great hops.
And they're calling a timeout just in front of the end zone.
Great call.
Veteran call.
Coaches are happy about that call.
Coaches are very happy about that call.
Tough thing to do in the heat of the moment, to sit down, to call a timeout, let coaches tell you exactly what they're looking for on the field. If you're a coach, what are you saying to your team right now on defense?
On defense, I think, in an ideal world, you're taking away whatever set play they have. I'd probably have someone, take open side and someone poach off to help that break side. But again, hard to teach poaching and that kind of defense to high schoolers. Well, they're still learning to play, but.
Now, we know that Bowmanville have a large set of set plays that they like to use on offense. I imagine on defense, you must be used to practicing against set plays. So hopefully they'll be able to execute some of the things you just brought up on defense.
Bowmanville hasn't really been able to do any of their set plays due to the zone ECI is putting on, which I wonder is something they'll stick with, because Bowmanville hasn't been able to put up too many deep shots, which I've heard is kind of the name of their game.
All right, so the way this works is ECI in the light have to set up their offensive space first before Bowman set up their defense. We have Medina Etobicoke at the front of the stack with, I believe that's Marcus Colebrook, ready to run in from that left-hand side. It's Reese Kaladze with the disc in hand. Disc is in. Throw to the open side. Just a little too high. And a second bid.
What an amazing second effort. Number 18, Kia Cliniff Takis.
What a play.
Wow.
What I really like, Sam, is she went up high. She couldn't get it, but she stayed focused on that disc. And that was a tremendous bid to keep that disc in play.
Bubble braid still intact. Incredible.
Well done, Kaya.
Staying on the field, doubling.
I mean, you can't really, if you're a coach, you can't really take someone off after they do that, right?
A lot of line calling has to deal with who's hot and who's having a great game. So.
And those are two separate things, of course. I'm just joking. This is high school ultimate, Sam. Let's keep it PG, okay? All right, so I believe that's the second break this game so far for ECI to Bowmanville's 1, which means Bowmanville do need this break here, ideally, to keep track with the game. The wind's been pretty consistent all day, Sam. It's a crosswind. How much does that affect the strategies that a team might come into to play today?
Well, it definitely makes throwing those lateral throws more challenging, because coming towards the camel, you'll notice the disc will die towards the ground and hit the floor a lot quicker, whereas throwing away from the camera towards that far sideline.
Huge D there. Sorry to cut you off there, Sam. Huge D there by Kayla McGrecken there for ECI. A lot of defensive work being done in the front lines here by the women of ECI. Creating the turnovers, so I suppose that the men can play offense. Don't know if that's fully equitable
yeah,
frisbee,
not sure if that's the way to do it, but
it seems to be a working strategy for them so far. Big throw up by Vecchio. Medina makes a play for it, taps it over, and that is a goal for Marcus Colebrook. He does seem to have a knack for coming down with that disc.
ECI just getting all these second effort catches in the end zone.
We can see now that ECI is winning that their bench are starting to get a bit more involved. That's 5-3 to ECI, the biggest lead we've seen so far in this game. If you're Bowmanville, are you feeling stressed at all? Are you still confident that you can make this comeback?
I think given how early this game is right now, and the fact that these scores aren't done, a lot of the time it's luck or just being in the right place at the right time. I think Bowmanville definitely has a good shot at coming back from it, but they're taking a timeout probably to stop this run and compose themselves just a little.
Right, so Bowmanville called the timeout to stop the momentum of ECI here. What kind of stuff do you think they're talking about? Defensive or offensive things? What do you think is the main difference in the teams right now, Sam?
I think they might try and adjust their defense a little bit, especially in the end zone. It seems like they're getting away with a lot of floaty over the top stuff, so yeah, who knows if they'll adjust their defense or not.
We see on the field that one of the leaders, one of the captains of the team is talking over instead of one of the coaches. Bowmanville have a history of exporting some fantastic players over the years. Luke Kamire, Ryan Paulas are both two players who play for the Toronto Goat and the Toronto Rush teams. Travis is a coach and a very good player himself, and previously Jeff Bomber Powell is a classic player that anyone who's been following Team Canada will recognize the name of. I mean, anyone watching at home, unless you're related to one of these players, I'm sure you're eager to see which of these players could be the next big thing in Canadian ultimate, right, Sam?
I heard people talking about the junior tryouts possibly happening later today, which I'm not sure if that's true or maybe it was misinformation, but that'd be a lot of frisbee for the students that are playing in this tournament.
Yeah, but Sam, when you're young, you don't get tired. I don't think you understand. These kids can go all day.
In all fairness, the club tryouts basically had the same format this summer with lots of double tryouts on the same day, so maybe just a curse of the sport.
All right, here we are coming back in. Great pull by ECI. Bowmanville is starting with the disc. Back to Mara in the midfield.
Tommy, you got one behind you, but otherwise not.
Dishing it backwards to her brother.
Yep. Still another one behind you.
Her brother was, by the way, the one speaking in the timeout. Clearly a leader on this team. Grady Averill.
Up, Tommy.
Oh, nice try there by Mara. Unfortunately, not able to quite bring it in under pressure from ECI. ECI have a chance for a third break this game.
Okay, you're 2-4.
Nice break throw. That's Ethan Pennanen with the disc right now. Back to Colebrook. Oh, Grady almost has a block, but Colebrook's able to keep it in. Ethan's with the disc on that open side.
He needs a break, Marcus.
And there is Medina. Always an easy option for that Bowmanville ECI offense. Dishes it back. Mature move to keep that disc in play. And a throw up the line.
Marcus Colebrook, really a strong offensive threat for ECI here. Getting all those second effort catches as well.
And Grady Averill is not an easy person to play around. He's making him look like he's slow, and I can tell you Grady is anything but that. The way that Marcus is built and the way that he moves, it makes him look like he perhaps played a different sport, maybe a football or something, the way that I'm seeing he move. At the high school level, it's so common to see players who played another sport growing up and then transition to ultimate.
I know a lot of basketballers.
Looks like we're having a couple players switch off this line, but what I was told by ECI is that they're going to be rotating the squad a little bit less today, which makes sense. It is a semifinal.
Tightening lines.
Brendan Vecchio with the pull. Bowmanville really need to stop this run here by ECI. As we get into the progression of the game, Sam, we're going to see more and more players stay on the field without rest. You're a fantastic player yourself. What's the most game points you played consecutively that you can think of?
Like the amount of points, I mean, that's a tough one. I know in my uni days we'd go like 3 points in a row, 1 rest, 3 points in a row, 1 rest.
Wow,
so
that's intense.
it was a lot. Wouldn't recommend.
And at least at university, you have a bit more experience, you have a bit more cardio. These kids are just running entirely off adrenaline. Big shot up.
Enough float for Marcus to catch up and maybe smack her in the back of the head while trying to do that disc.
She is calling a foul on Marcus Colebrook. We're having the observer come over and help. What did you see, Sam? Did you think that a foul to you?
I think that was a decent amount of contact. I think as a male matching player, you have to be very aware of your body contact, especially around FMPs, just with a height and weight mismatch. So I also think Marcus definitely came up from behind over top of her. And there is a rule in a lot of ultimate games where you can't interfere into someone's upward space. So I think he might have violated that rule, but we'll see what the observers say.
Unfortunately, we can't see a replay, but you at home, you can scroll back in your timeline just 30 seconds, and you can see what you think if that was a foul or not. They, in the meantime, are going to figure out if there's a foul or not. Oh.
And he is getting a card.
Blue card, yeah. So the observer is giving Marcus Colebrook a blue card. That is for bad spirit. That is not something we want to see on the field, you know?
It's unfortunate. Maybe the teenage angst is coming out a little bit here.
Oftentimes, blue cards aren't only for the foul, but it's how they respond after they're getting a foul called on them. So they do a foul and then they aren't apologetic. They aren't receptive to hearing that they might have fouled someone.
And it looks like Sandra is having none of it, so.
Sandra is the observer who's running off the field right now. Way to go, Sandra. You tell him. All right, Bowmanville right on the edge of the line here. They need to convert this to really stop that ECI run. Dishes it off to Luke Shackelauer. Back to Grady Averill. Hammer. What a dime.
A dot. Those hammers are clinical from Bowmanville. Well practiced, for sure. ECI definitely upset with that call, but I would suggest not to dwell on it too much. Not worth the mental energy it takes.
Yes, as you said, the coach is clearly trying to get their heads back in the game. This is not the point of the game. Let's be positive. Marcus Colebrook is not happy about it, though.
Definitely a big part of coaching is dealing with the highs and lows of high school ultimate.
Meanwhile, let's talk about that hammer from Grady Averill. How hard is it not only to execute it, but to see that throw across that field in the far corner?
It's interesting, given that their defense was just kind of playing zone defense in their end zone. It felt like that might have been one of the few options. I think they either could have worked it up in a give and go situation or just hit that over the top. I mean, if it's working for them, why not?
All right, Bowmanville sidelines getting amped up as Grady has the pull. Big pull by Grady. Oh my goodness. And that's Marcus catching it.
Scary to catch that personally.
For the fans at home, if you drop the pull, if it touches you and you aren't able to keep it in your possession, it is a turnover, just like any other throw. So it is a high-risk motion. Bowmanville's doing a 1v1 matchup here, not doing a zone, clearly not happy with how their zone was effective against ECI. And they seem to be trusting their height and athleticism against the ECI team.
I think the force is home, but they're struggling to keep that force. There we go, I think.
Elliot Bluen is the one covering Marcus Colebrook. Elliot is also the one who caught that hammer across the field in that previous point. Let's see what Elliot can do to prevent Marcus from getting that disc in that deadly area that he has been doing so far.
Out of there, Noah! Out, Noah!
Marcus Colebrook stuck on that sideline, trying to find an open throw. Dishes it up.
Yeah! Oh, no!
And the observer is calling out of bounds despite the bid and the hold of that disc there by Brennan Vecchio. Unlucky.
Unlucky. I'd like to point out there that I don't think a female player touched the disc at all during that offensive point. So it's unfortunate to see how these junior teams might tunnel vision certain male players.
Well, at least Bowmanville are throwing to their women. Whatever you want, Sam. Just say it, Bowmanville will do it for you. Bowmanville's stuck on the line. Beautiful cross pass to Vecchio. Back to Vecchio, who's going to swing it across the field to Grady. Grady wants to throw it long because there's a player completely unmarked, but unfortunately the throw wasn't quite tall enough, and Marcus Colebrook was able to wrap it up.
And you can hear the sideline telling Marcus to tighten in as that deep on the deep player, and you can hear Marcus yelling back that I'm fine, I can catch up. So it seems to be strategic, maybe baiting them to throw it deep and knowing that he has time to catch up with his speed there.
Big throw deep. And great defensive play, and he is calling a strip on that catch. If the observers don't agree with Marcus here, that's going to be 3 in a row. That's going against ECI. Now, they're not refs, and this isn't a ref game, but I can understand why ECI might feel like they're getting the wrong side of the coin. All the observer can do is offer their perspective and leave it to the players to have a spirited response.
If you had to give your perspective on that, what do you think?
Me?
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought she had a clean play on the disc, but I'm about 30 yards away from here. It's hard to see for sure. The observer is much closer, and of course you have to leave it to the players to decide. At the end of the day, if you call a foul and you disagree, let's just send the disc back and keep the game moving.
Calls longer than, I would say, about a minute are just usually don't result in much great spirit. So sometimes it's great to just cut it short
Agreed.
and move on.
It looks like Marcus is retracting his foul call.
That's great spirit.
Great spirit by Marcus. I think he's working off to rescind that blue card. Another defensive play by Medina. He's trying to get open now. Good defensive play by Bowmanville to close down those angles. Throw to the open side, and that's a Medina with a goal. She's a handful.
All over.
And Sam, we see Medina playing point on the zone here in this game, which indicates to me that she's probably been doing that this whole weekend. Medina's been playing front cup all weekend non-stop. What kind of cardio must this girl have? At the end of the day, it's not just cardio. It's a desire to win.
It is. I believe it's 7-4.
That means it's halftime, Sam.
Ah.
Our favorite, because it means that we get to take a break, but not before we give a shout out to our sponsors of the day, Disc Craft, giving us the disc that we are playing this beautiful game with, and
BE Ultimate. We have a tent set up here for all your apparel needs. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take halftime, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. And we're back for the second half here. We had some clarification with the observers at halftime. So the blue card given to Marcus Colebrook was just because it was a dangerous play, nothing that he might have said afterwards. Then that second play, it was not that he rescinded his call, is that it was an observer overruling that it was not a foul. In Marcus's defense, he communicated that he only started playing the sport this year. He doesn't really fully understand all the rules. He's actually a AAA rated hockey player, and he's going to Wilfrid Laurier next year to play football, but his coach wanted us to say on the stream that his best sport is ultimate frisbee.
Multi-sport athlete. The team seems to be sitting down. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Just some pre-second half stretches, Sam. You've never done that before? No, I'm joking. I actually don't know what that is, but it looks like they're trying to get in the head of Bowmanville, clearly.
Perhaps Marcus is having a moment to talk to our observer there and clarify some stuff, but
meanwhile, the Bowmanville team on the right side are not quite sure what's going on.
And they're back on their feet.
All right, we're ready to go with the second half. Bowmanville down a couple points. Sam, what do you think Bowmanville need to change to make a comeback this half?
I think right now they do have a very male-dominated handler flow going on, with maybe only a handful of female matching players getting in to that disc space. I think it'd be great to really cycle through players. Me personally, especially in a zone, I think it's best when everyone gets into that handler space and cycles to the deep space. It just makes the defense have to switch a lot more and opens up a lot more options. But we'll see if ECI probably maintains that zone D and take away the deep looks that Bowmanville is known for.
All right, observers have indicated that we're ready to start this second half. We got a pull coming in from ECI, so it's an opportunity for Bowmanville to start strong here on offense. Pull comes up, gets to about halfway before it hits the ground. Shackling with the disc. Over to Avery Bradley. Medina's on that disc like bee is to honey. I don't know what kind of training her parents did with her before she was born, but it looks like she was born to play this disc. She wants that disc more than anything I've ever seen.
And pushing their offense back further and further, I think Bowmanville really needs to pinch in. These female players in the deep space are open, but just too far downfield. Maybe I spoke too soon.
Nice throw over the top there by Grady. Swinging around. And as you can see, well, maybe you can't see on the camera, but on the far side of the left side of the field, there's a woman just all the way open that Marcus is just poaching off of. And it's a beautiful throw from Grady just over the top, and she's able to get there. Marcus has finally been punished for maybe poaching off her a bit too shallow, but shout out to Bowmanville for really shoving her down the field. She's not able to get that engaged with the game, but she was able to get that point.
Getting their swagger back one big huck at a time.
That was a dime from Avery. He's had some really Averill. He's had some really great throws this game. It's a tough position being the last or the deepest player on a zone offense sometimes. It can be a little lonely. You're not getting a lot of touches. And so it's hard when it just comes zipping in from you. A lot of pressure on you to catch that.
Yeah, I've played a deep in my days, given my height. And unless it's floaty, it's tough to catch up. I usually take a more conservative approach. I try not to bait too much.
Especially with an angry Marcus Colebrook steaming down on you. You're not sure what that guy's going to do. A hockey and football player playing Ultimate? Who would have thought?
Wait, so AAA hockey, but then going to school for football.
Yes, he only started playing football this year, but he's got a full ride at Wilfrid Laurier.
Wow.
He's clearly an all-around athlete. And let's just remind what Coach has to say. This is his sport, though.
Right.
Not hockey, not football. It's ultimate frisbee, the sport of the future. All right, pull from Bowmanville. It's a roller. Stopped by Marcus Colebrook. At least he knows how to do that one. I'm sorry. Marcus, I'm a big fan. You keep doing you.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
what a jump by Marcus Colebrook. And it is a turnover.
This wind is picking up. Gusty and just you show the bottom of that disc of the wind, it's sailing.
Elliot Bluin running this offense. Meanwhile, the midfield for the Bowmanville is pretty inactive, just trying to spread the field as far as possible. We've got 2 on the sides and 1 all the way down.
Watch back. Girls, do something. That's it, Ethan.
Swing across the field there. Great interception there by Ethan Pennanen. Oh. And a quick counterattack to score. Another break here by ECI.
Unguarded again. Bubble braid number 18 for ECI. It looks like maybe the female matching player to guard her was just still making her way down the field. It's hard once you lock into a player, but sometimes on defense you got to keep your head on a swivel and just take the most threatening player in that situation.
That offensive zone plan by Bowmanville of having the 4 handlers back and the other 3 forming a very wide triangle, as deep and as wide as possible. It's tricky because you're really just playing 4 people and then looking for some sort of throw over the top.
And I think a lot of the time those over-the-top throws are a little bit better when there's less wind, but in this situation it's a little more risky. You're not exactly sure where they'll land and if they'll float a little too much and give defense time to catch up, and stressful.
As long as one of them tries, that's all that matters.
If ECI win this game, I got to give a shout out to Medina. I think she's really been the player of the game so far this game. Big pull there. Great pull by Brennan Vecchio. Stopped it by Brady. Throw over the top.
Again, a floaty
Detroit
pass
Jameson.
like that.
And Marcus Colebrook's just going to come down with those. Give him an inch and he'll take a mile.
Elliot, tight. Elliot, you're hot. Elliot, no under.
Coach reminding them that they can call a timeout if they'd like.
Would you call timeout right here, Sam?
Depending on how I'm feeling, I mean, they just got to turn pretty quickly. I think maybe they could try and push the score like they're doing.
Grady Averill doing his best to try and get that disc, but it's not coming out. And that's Medina again with the score right out the lane. She is unstoppable on both sides of the disc. Well, I don't think we know which grade Medina's in right yet, but we do often talk about what it'll be like to see these players in college one day. Medina's one of the ones I would love to see at a bigger program. Not that there's much bigger of a high school program in the country than ECI. Last year, ECI finished second in this tournament. This year, they're aiming to go all the way.
Coach calling a timeout for Bowmanville, it looks like.
That is a 9-5 for Bowmanville. It's not an unsurmountable changeup. I mean, for ECI. Sorry about that, Sam. It's not an unsurmountable odd, but it is a tricky changeup because it's not like ECI is all of a sudden going to drop the ball.
They're on a bit of a run here.
We've talked several times about what Bowmanville might change, going into this last quarter, but it's also a lot for ECI to stay focused, stay controlled, and not lose the momentum of what they have. If you're a coach for ECI, what are you saying to the team?
Definitely keep it chilly on offense. You know, I think when the kids are getting excited and rushing things a little, you don't want them to forget the fundamentals, but they're looking great so far.
Both these schools are relatively close to Toronto, so it's not unheard of for them to play frequently. So there is a bit of a rivalry, I'm sure, between these two programs. UCI are beginning to take a little bit of a lead this year, but Bowmanville traditionally have had a bit of a lead. Speaking of history, we've talked about Bowmanville alumni, but ECI have some pretty stupendous alumni as well.
Shout out to my good friend Tommy Panayotopoulos.
Oh, that's a crazy last name, Sam. Are you able to spell that out for us?
Absolutely not. Also, I think Will and Phil Turner, both.
Not twins.
Not twins. Although they do look similar.
They do look similar. However, their sister did not go to that school. Shout out to Carly Turner. And Maddie James, I also believe, went to that school.
Indeed, my teammate. Her brother is actually on the team right now. James hasn't seen the field yet, maybe with the tighter line calling. Unfortunately, very few players seem to be seeing the field today.
That is unfortunate. Hopefully we see James on the field at some point, either today or in a future year. All right, so Avery's walking the disc to the middle of the field. Why is that, Sam?
Well, the pole was out of bounds there, so he is able to bring it to the middle of the field where the disc went out along the sideline.
This is a great opportunity to see exactly what ECI are doing with the zones. We have Medina in the middle, and we have the two women on either side really trying to prevent those around passes. And then three people in the midfield trying to stop over the tops, and then Marcus at the back preventing that deep throw.
That's it. Noah, you're good. Noah, just him. Noah, just him.
It's one thing to keep possession and swing the disc, but you also need penetration to move that disc forward so you're not just moving sideways and to
I'm
the
a
back.
big fan of this zone that ECI has. It's really forcing the throwers to throw that inside flick, which is really challenging in this wind.
What is tough is it requires a lot from Medina. And now she seems to be able to do it, but it's not something I would recommend for every single team. Coaches are getting animated here on the sideline.
Other way, Medina, no!
Big throw there. That's Troy coming down with it. He's in front of the zone. Can't see if he can keep up. Big throw there. I don't know if it's enough. Nope. Marcus Colebrook has the disc. Surprised? No one.
I like that look, and maybe just if that throw had gone up a bit sooner before defense had time to catch up.
Right. West here on the sideline, dishing forward to Ethan. Nice catch there, Ethan.
A person defense. Maybe only.
We're going to have to start seeing some big defensive plays here at Bowmanville if they want to turn over the disc.
What a
My God.
great
Marcus Colebrook have superpowers? I swear he just levitated off the ground. Timeout there by Ethan. He may look like he's 12 years old, but he is a veteran on this field. He is ice cold and keeping that disc in play. Let's talk about that Marcus Colebrook jump.
That was wild. Such a spry, like those fast twitch muscles, that's crazy.
If you're guarding Marcus, like what can you even do? He's just going to jump over your head. You can see why he's a triple threat athlete. Triple threat being hockey, football, and of course, most importantly,
mainly ultimate.
Yeah. He just has to learn the rules.
Maybe used to the contact sports that he's playing.
Tough transition. I understand. Sam, do you ever play any other sports growing up?
I didn't really play any sports growing up. I did horseback riding.
Horseback riding.
Yeah.
And do you find that those skills really affected your ultimate much?
Not really many transferable skills there, no.
Maybe a good squat form. I don't really know how horseback riding works, to be honest.
Yeah. I guess I played house league hockey, but very short-lived career.
Can you skate backwards?
I can.
That's pretty good. I don't even know how to skate.
Oh.
All right, ECI have the disc. Ethan has it on the open side of the field. The rest of ECI's players are set up all the way on the other side of the field. Oh, nice round there by Ethan.
You got Marcus.
Coaches are calling to give it to Marcus. He has it just on the edge, not quite in. And who else scores that goal?
But our one and only Medina.
Marcus is giving her competition for player of the match, but it's still uncontested. Maybe if he's nice, she'll share her crown at the end. Score's now 10-5, I believe. It's getting late in the day for Bowmanville to mount a comeback. What I like is that they're still so animated on the sideline. Everyone's playing and pulling in the same direction.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
If UCI win this game, they will get to go in 3 streams all today. So good luck to them for that.
What a good timeout.
Coaches are really chuffed on the sideline here about Ethan's sideline call. I just want to give a shout out again to him because it's a tough thing to do in that heat in the moment, to take a moment and just relax. Let's hear what the coaches have to say.
Mm-hmm. Keeping a calm head when you're tired is incredibly difficult.
If you're Ethan's parents, I'm sure you're very proud of him. Do I know how to say his last name? Maybe, but maybe not. It's Pananen.
Pananen.
All right. All right, Bowmanville here on offense.
Watch the back ends.
We know that several other players play at the junior club level. The local team up near Bowmanville is Chain Reaction. So they're going to need a chain reaction of goals to make a comeback here.
Yeah. I believe Chain is a mixed junior team, or am I wrong?
I could not tell you.
Okay. Oh, it is open. Okay.
That's it, Medina. There we go. That's it, Kaya. Guys, watch the back end. Watch the back end. There you go, Medina. There you go.
Great mark.
Look at Cedar. Watch the back end. Yep.
Very dynamic offense here by Bowmanville, despite it not always working. When will they learn? Spencer's just Marcus is just there, and he's going to collect all of that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He strolls down the field, and you can see that he literally has muscles bigger than my head.
Is he tight?
How's his throw? Oh, well, a loose hammer to the break side, but it comes off. It's Brendan Vecchio with the disc. Big huck upwards. And that's Kaya Kliftakis with the disc. Dishes it off to that break side. UCI in the red zone. Back to the middle, Brendan Vecchio with the disc.
I believe it's
Coach.
2 timeouts per half, and they've already used 1, so Coach is suggesting that they can use a timeout if they want.
But Brendan says no. Nice low throw, a little too low there for Sarah Taylor. But Medina's on the disc, and that's always a threat, so it's not a big deal.
Cedar, drop back.
Grady, look at Cedar. Look at Cedar.
Cedar, Grady. Over there.
Cedar, drop. Izzy, drop.
If you notice, the sideline here is... Sideline can't make calls, so it will be a down call by the players on the field, but it looks like they all have not calling that.
Behind you, Kaya.
Spencer's dropping under a little bit. There is a little room sometimes to pop it over the top if there's the right vision. Averill to Averill. Grady's got the disc. Nice throw through the cup, and it just pops out of her chest. It's happened to every one of us, and it's so tricky. Isabel Wunderlich. Big throw up. Mare versus Kaya, and Kaya comes down with it. Kaya has it right on the line.
And of course, the wide open.
Say with me, Medina.
Medina, someone needs to stop her. This is crazy.
As you said, Sam, we've seen a lot of the players today rotate on and off, maybe 3 on, 1 off. I don't think Medina's taking a single rest.
And she is putting in a shift right now.
If you're watching this game and you're at this field somehow, I would recommend trying to go find her and getting her autograph because she's going to be representing this sport at the highest level one day. I got to say, she's been the difference in these two games. She's come up with the defensive assets, and she's scored what it feels like the last 20 goals for ECI.
I think Bowmanville, during that last point, is really looking to pop it over the top with those blades, but a few of them in the past have just got taken away by the wind, so maybe players a little more reluctant to do those fearless blades. It's
now 11-5 for ECI. Once this game's over, they'll have 10 minutes. Oh, here comes Medina now. She's trying to fill up her water. Finally getting a break. Medina's here standing next to us, and she doesn't look like she's fatigued at all. In fact, she doesn't even look like she sweated once today. Anyways, we were saying, if you're the coach of ECI, once this game's over, you've got about 10 minutes before you play the finals. Are you thinking about resting or rotating the squad at all?
I think at this point in the game, you might use that as an opportunity to rest some players that will be playing a lot in the final.
Hammer.
Oh, what an incredible catch! Epic.
Up. That's it, Medina. Keep going. Get over here. No break. Maggie, slide to your right, Maggie, on that one. Stay to your right. Stay there. No, Maggie, to your right. Yeah. Okay, let's be up. Back up.
All weekend, Sam, we've talked about how amazed we were about the technical ability of these kids, let alone the athleticism.
Nice job.
But what really makes the difference at this level is what really makes the difference at this level is the mentality, the decision making, and the patience. We've seen that on excellence today from both sides. Big throw up by Ethan.
Toe dragged out of bounds, but it doesn't look like anyone's calling it.
And a defensive action there by Bowmanville.
Turn nonetheless.
Luke Scheckler with the disc.
Coach, not sure if you can hear the coaches of ECI on the mic right now, but very passionate about this team and the marks they're putting on. A dot. That was a dot.
Great hammer across the field. Upwind, too. Really can't be emphasized how tricky of a throw that was. Even if Bowmanville do lose this game, they should be very proud of that throw. Oh, she does her best. She really tries her best. And not a lot you can do against Spencer Craddock in the air.
Spencer.
Oh, sorry.
How could you forget his name? Cole.
Marcus.
Or Marcus Coleman. Colebrook.
Too deep. Too deep.
We're too shocked and awed to get his name right. He knows who we're talking about, and so do you. Marcus Colebrook.
I think we might just have to change his name to that guy at this point.
That's who he is. He's just that guy. Beautiful dish there from the end zone. And that's 12-5 there going for ECI. It's really tough. It's so tough for Bowmanville. They're trapped in the front end. It's a beautiful force. They're the midfield are all the way in. There's a strong wind, make it hard to pop it over. And if they do get it wrong just a little bit, Spencer's going to be there. Really disheartening. Marcus is going to be there. So sorry, folks. Really tough for Bowmanville. Really tough to keep their head up.
It's a tough mental game.
Sorry for getting that name wrong, Marcus. I'll get your name tattooed on me after this game so I never forget it again. All right, well, looks like we're seeing a little bit of a rotation in the squad here for ECI. some players that we haven't yet seen so far this game. Great opportunity for them in the semifinals of a big tournament to get some reps before the big finals.
Keep warm.
Bowmanville are also doing something similar. A lot of faces we haven't seen yet this game. Big pull. It's going to land in the field behind us. Unlucky for Hayden. Hayden, by the way, is who we spoke about earlier. He is the coach's son. He's glaring at his dad right now.
His mom telling him that he better have some good defense now. It's a lot of pressure pulling sometimes, especially in wind.
Especially with your parents watching.
Oh, yeah. 42, really showing where he wants players to be. Oh.
Who needs that guy? Who needs Marcus Colebrook when you have Max Dips on the field cleaning that up? Great name, Max Dips.
A disc on the field. Usually that's a stoppage of play, but unfazed by that.
Who cares about the rules? Big huck up by Jackson. Oh, and a fantastic catch falling backwards by Miley Jackson, who gets the goal.
What a great huck that just sat in the wind there. You can tell when it hits that sweet spot and just sails. Wow. Great catch.
Sorry, not Miley Jackson. That was Reese Kaladze. My apologies on that. But Reese Kaladze with that fantastic catch, fall backwards, dish it off, and gets in the end zone. And that is the game, Sam. That is the game. That is 13-5. There was a really tight first half, and then ECI just ran away with that in the second half.
That's an unfortunate loss, but excited to see ECI in the final here and see how they do.
If you're playing ECI in the final in the next game in the finals, what would you tell them? What are the strengths and the weaknesses of this ECI team that they should be aware of?
Well, you definitely gotta watch out for our girl Medina here, as well as Marcus. Those two are definitely a big threat to their team. Medina on defense and Marcus on defense and offense as well. Both on offense, really. They're just everywhere, aren't they?
They really are. And I don't want to take away from some of the other handlers like Brennan Vecchio or Ethan Pennanen, who did a lot this game. But that game was won by Medina. Shout out to her. And you can see on the field now, she doesn't look tired at all. She's ready to go for the finals. Well, we want to give a final shout out to our two sponsors.
Yeah, shout out to our sponsors, BE Ultimate as well as Discraft, making this tournament possible.
I want to give a shout out to you, Sam. This is your final stream for the day because we bring back your best friend, May Young, for the final game. In the meantime, Sam, you've been fantastic. Thanks so much for hopping on.
Thank you.
And that's us for today. We will see you in about 10 minutes for the finals.